All right, I got to get my brain going. Cinderella. She lived in a big harked house with her two sister-ugglers and her mean old stepstother. You catching on? Yeah, we'll see. One day as she was flopping the moor, her two sister-ugglers came running in and said, "The Pransome Hints is throwing a fancy breast drawl, and we're all invited, but gee, it's boo-tad Cinderella, you just can't go." So, fussed about Jen, Cinderella, went running in the kitchen with ears in her ties. She was just about ready to chickasee a frickin' when all of a sudden, there was a lightning blast flight, and standing in front of her was a beautiful berry. And Cinderella said, "You are who? And what in the who do you want?" And the beautiful berry said, "I'm your merry fodgather." It wasn't a merry fodgather, it was Larry, all dressed up as her hairy godmother. Cinderella said, "Oh, merry fodgather, may I go to the fancy breast drawl?" Her hairy godmother said, "Certainly." Why certainly? So instantly, Cinderella was transformed into a babishing Rudy. Yeah? Kind of like you last night. Anyway, she had on a long white gatton sound. She had on a necklace of poopies and merles, rubies and pearls, and on her feet were two tiny sass glippers. And she was off. Soon she cast to the camel. Came to the castle. And the first people she met were the two sister-ugglers, but she was so beautiful, they didn't even Cinderize Recognilla. So they took her to the Pransome Hints, and he said, "Wow, may I have this dance, for she is so beautiful. She reminds me of the beeping Slooty." He was just about ready to ask for her mare and handage when all of a sudden the stock started to strike 12, and Cinderella ran from the ball. But as she was doing so, one of the tiny sass glippers flipped from her soot. So the Pransome Hints, he went over and he picked it up. He said, "As soon as I find out whose soot this flipper sits, I'll know of whom I've fallen in love." Yeah, it's a love story. So, and it's about over, thank goodness. So the Dairy Vexene, he went from house to house and from pillar to post, and those can't be turned around. But he wanted to find out whose soot the flipper sat, right? He came to Cinderella's house. He tried the flipper on the first sister-ugler. It didn't do it. He tried it on the second sister-ugler, and again it didn't do it. And then it was Cinderella's turn. We all know the flipper pitted perfectly, and the Pransome Hints and Cinderella were married and happily lively ever after. So what do we need to learn in this beautiful story? Never give up. Benjamin Franklin never gave up. Thomas Jefferson never gave up. Yeah, Blue Dot ought to give up. How about Oliver Twildee-Dee? You know Oliver? Nope, because he gave up. So always remember this simple little philosophy as you walk down the pathway of life. Even though some of our bubbles are tricks, some of our troubles are wrong. If we try to have any help us, how are we going to stroll wrong, right? So always remember, if you're ever at a fancy breast drawl, to slop your dripper. And don't try to memorize that story. After a while, you get all messed up. You start to stink that way. But Cinderella's life went from pathetic to perfect. Why? She never lost the thought that she had the potential to be a princess. When I was a young boy, I had a perfect life. I grew up in central Utah, a very small community, 300 people. Everybody respected, supported, trusted each other. I was just a little dude about this tall. Well, I still am, but I was just this tall. And I'd wake up every day and I'd look at the beautiful mountains and the wide open spaces. And I knew in my soul that life was full of unlimited possibilities. My dad was a high school basketball coach. I was being primed by my father to be an elite athlete. Well, I grew to be about 5'10", 15 years old, moved to a larger town. Best friends were Roger, Phil, and Doug. And we'd listen to the Beatles, and we'd chase girls, and we'd play sports. And on this particular day, my best buddies were waiting for me at Lake Ridge Junior High School. The entire school and community, they were all excited about the championship football game the next morning. So I fixed my little sister Julie's flat bike tire. I ran down the street, crossed the road, jumped the curb, dashed through the grass. I leaped up on the cement porch, started banging on the old screen door. My friend, my teammate, Tori, said, Mike, come in, come in, come in. So I opened the door, walked towards my friend's voice. Where's my friend? Down the hallway, looking around. Nobody's home. I wandered into his mom and dad's bedroom. Bad idea. I ended up on the white bedspread, just sitting there looking around. My friend rounded the corner, heading my direction, holding a gun in a brown leather case. Hey, Mike, I like to play around with this gun when my mom and dad aren't home. This is my dad's off-duty police gun. I know where he hides it when he goes to work. I sat there, I listened, I was curious. He stopped 3 feet away, took the gun out of the brown leather case, flipped the cylinder that holds the bullets out to the side, started shaking the gun. I watched 4 little silver bullets come to rest on the white bedspread. I could have reached out and picked them up. I started doing math in my head. I got to 4. How many bullets does that gun hold? I should have said something. This was an accident. My friend thought he had an empty gun, very playfully, casually, flipped that thing back in, a little Russian roulette, pulled it up to his hip, pointed it at my chest. Bang! I still remember that sound. That bullet hit my chest, punctured my lung, clipped my heart, hit my spine, knocked me back onto the white bedspread. I passed out. My friend freaked out. I was regaining my consciousness. I couldn't breathe. This can't be real. But my friends here today, these things in life are real, aren't they? Death, divorce, failure. I tried to take another breath and I thought, this is real. I've been shot. I can't breathe. Can't feel my legs, can't walk. My friend's freaking out. I'm going to die. For the first time in my life, I panicked. I started bargaining with heaven. You ever done that? Started bargaining with heaven. If I can live, I'll change. If I can live, I'll be a better person. If I can live, I'll help people. I just wanted to live. And I looked to the left, about 8 feet away, about me to that flag, on the wall, a blue phone. I stared at that phone. That phone represented my good mom. My good mom was 5 houses away. This is before cell phones. I just wanted to get to that phone so I could call my mom. I was glued to that white bedspread. I stared at that phone as I thought I died. And then Tori was in my face, had a hold of my shoulders, violently shaking me. Mike, you're faking it. I know you're faking it. I pulled at my shirt. I showed him the hole in my chest. He ran back over to that same blue phone. Who do you think he called? My mom. My mom answered, Mrs. Schlappi, come quick. Mike's been hurt. That's all he said. He chucked the phone in the corner. He ran back in the kitchen. The next 2 minutes were the longest 2 minutes of my life. Think of the longest 2 minutes in your life. It feels like forever, but I hung in there. Why? I hung in there. Why? I had hope. I had hope. We all need hope. I had hope that my good, incredible, wonderful mother would walk in that bedroom, and you know what? She did. And I have a gut feeling there's a couple of moms in this room. Moms? Yeah, let's have it for a mom. Moms, you matter. Dads, you're decent. But moms, you really matter. My mom, she walked over, she touched my hand. She touched my face. She ran her fingers through my hair. She saved my life. She ran back over to that same blue phone. Who do you think she called? 911. Picture this. My friend's dad cruising the neighborhood in his police car, came across his little radio. There'd been a shooting at his address. The ambulances showed up. They rushed me to the hospital. The body is an amazing creation, isn't it? You know what saved me besides my mom, my friend, the doctors and nurses? My heart. When they took the x-rays at the hospital, they couldn't figure out how the bullet missed my heart. It actually clipped my heart, but they couldn't figure. When they took the x-rays, my heart was on an outbeat. When I got shot, my heart was on an inbeat. A half an inch can make a whole lot of difference. I'm thankful to be alive. I'm thankful to be here this morning with you good people. Thank you. So, I got shot. What's your problem? My girlfriend dumped me 3 days later. I know, her name's Annette Barton. Anyway, my football teammates dedicated the game to me the next morning, 36-0. They lost. Yeah, things weren't going too well. Local newspaper said, boy shoots himself. Father leaves loaded revolver on nightstand. Star athlete, student by president, clinging to life. All this stuff going on. I was mad at God. This isn't fair. I'm an athlete. I use my legs. These things should happen to like inside sales and, stuff like that. Anyway, so all this stuff going on in my head, and I just thought, I'm going to go crazy. And I just trying to figure it out. My nickname as a kid was Happy Schlappi. And for the first time in my life, I went rock bottom. I became crappy, Schlappi. My friends would visit, they'd leave. My mom and dad would sleep at the hospital, they'd leave. And when they left, I'd look at all the plugs and all the stuff in my lungs and in my nose and all the machine. I thought, if I just pull the plug out of the wall, I can end it all. But I wasn't raised to quit. This was real. I had to own it. It was going to be part of me and my future. I had to change. Even my buddy Tori that shot me showed up. Just he and I. He sat next to me. We looked at each other. We started crying. He gave me a book. I opened it up. He had written, Mike, I'll never forgive myself, but I hope someday you will. This didn't just happen to me. This happened to my family, my friends, my future wife, my future kids. This didn't just happen to me. I knew I was on my way to recovery when I started causing trouble in the hospital. My grandma Schlappi brought me a cherry Slurpee from 7-Eleven. I drank half the cherry Slurpee. I put the remainder on the nightstand by the hospital bed. 9 o'clock at night. I was asleep. The nurse came in to check my blood pressure. And then she stuck a thermometer in my mouth. She left the room. I'm 15 years old. I need something to smile about. What do you think I did? Took the thermometer out of my mouth. I stuck it in the last half of the cherry Slurpee. It sat there, got nice and cold. I heard the nurse coming down the hallway. Just before she came back in my room, I took the thermometer out of the Slurpee, put it back in my mouth, act like I hadn't moved. She walked in, over to the side of the bed, leaned over, pulled this thermometer out of my mouth. She looked at it, got all nervous and hysterical. Why? This little thing that doesn't lie said I was dead. 30 degrees ago, yeah. And I got in trouble. Have you ever been in trouble? Yeah, me too. I got in trouble, but I laughed for the first time in a week, and that meant everything to me. I started to learn to love myself from the inside out, not just the outside in. I watched my legs get skinnier and skinnier. Thank you. My legs atrophied. I promised myself one Friday afternoon, I'm never going to let my thoughts, my dreams, my future atrophy. The average person here this morning, this beautiful resort in Arizona, has 11 negative thoughts to every one positive thought. I was probably twice that at that point. The average person here today spends 45 to 50 minutes a day looking good for the world on the outside. Well, some of you guys a little less, but on average, I spent 5 months in rehab. I had to change. In life, if you resist change, you fail. If you accept change, you survive. If you actually create change, you succeed. I had to create change. I had to succeed. I had to do things different. Different isn't bad. It's just different. Hey, by the way, I'm not here on this beautiful morning to tell any of you incredible people you can't have a bad day. It's okay to have a bad day once in a while. Yeah. Especially if you've been shot. But anyway, so 5 months in rehab. I would work up a sweat every day trying to make my big toe flinch. I'd get all the therapies. I worked hard. The greatest therapy I ever received, I gave to myself. I called it attitude therapy. I'd memorize poems, positive thoughts. I'd read good books. Anything I could do to stop myself from going rock bottom. I would touch the bullet that was still in my back, and I'd think about all the things I'd lost. And one day I started focusing on the things I had left. I wondered if I could ever get a job. Would you hire me? See, that's why I had to go into motivational speaking. By the way, it's ranked the 6th most overpaid profession. Yeah, one right after those in elite sales, right there. So anyway, so I laid there and I wondered if girls would ever like me again. Now I live in Utah. I've got 5 kids. I've got a couple wives. So, I just wanted to go home. get out of the hospital, go home. My family, my friends, that's where my heart was. One day they brought me a chair, kind of like this. They brought me this chair, and I looked at the chair, and I thought, if I can't get in that chair, I won't be able to get in a car and drive, and if I can't get in a car and drive, I won't be able to go on a date. If I can't go on a date, I can't get a girl. If I can't get a girl, I might as well just pull the plug out of the wall and end it all. Anyway, so they brought me this chair, and you put your right foot in, and you put your left foot in, and you hang on. We're good. I thought we were going to have 2 disabled mics up here. Okay, so I transferred into that chair. I was proud of myself. You know, it's not a big deal, but when you've been on your feet for 15 years, and I had to change, I had to do things different. I had to go back to the basics. I don't have any stomach muscles, leg muscles, hip muscles. I have a little secret for everybody in here. If you want to be a good friend, a good spouse, a good employee, help other people feel comfortable in your world. But if you want to be a great friend, a great spouse, a great employee, get into their world. Get into your client's world, your customer's world. Like my 11-year-old sister Julie got into my world. She literally became my private nurse. My dad and I went in the backyard, we grabbed a basketball. We shot it up at the 10-foot basket. It fell 5 feet short. I was bummed out, he knew it. He said, Mike, you can still be a great athlete. You're just going to have to do it a little differently. I found out they had wheelchair basketball in the Olympic Games. I set a goal when I was just a kid to be the first wheelchair basketball player to represent the United States of America in 4 consecutive games. In life, if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to know how to get there. My mom's my hero. I'd wake up every day. This wasn't a dream. Wheelchairs waiting for me at the side of the bed. I'd climb in the chair, roll in the kitchen. My mom and I'd talk. She'd cry. She was flipping pancakes. One day she said, Mike, just because you can't stand up doesn't mean you can't stand out. What a great motto. That meant everything to me. I sit here in front of you as a person. I used to be able to do 10,000 things. Now I can only do 9,900. Not bad. I can't do dishes, toilets, garbage cans, laundry. I even got out of piano lessons. Yeah, because I couldn't play the little pedal thingy. Yeah, it was worth getting shot to get out of piano lessons. I didn't like piano lessons. So I got shot. What's your problem? What stops you? What fears do you have? What walls do you have? I had to get out there. I had to live life. I remember rolling down the street. The curb felt like a cliff. The grass felt like a jungle. But I'd roll to the end of the street. I'd turn around and go back home. Everybody's staring at me. But I got out there. I had to own it. It was real. It was part of me. It wasn't going away. I started going to the high school basketball games. And my brother Scott, he's a year older than me. I was supposed to be the starting guards. My brother Scott and I were supposed to be the starting guards at Orem High School for 3 straight years. Where was I? Sitting in the wheelchair section. I hated it. I'd cry through the whole game. I want to be out there with my brother. Everybody's clapping for him. I'm up there, all these negative thoughts, negative labels, disabled, handicapped, crippled, different, Google, all these thoughts. I'm going to go crazy. I got to find something to do. So I started running marathons. Any runners in here? My first marathon, July 24th, 1981, halfway between Salt Lake City and Park City, 5 o'clock in the morning. First 13 miles are uphill. Me and 7 other dudes in wheelchairs. They let us go first so we won't be in the way. 3 miles into the race, struggles, blisters, sweat, FUD. What's FUD? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But I focused on my goal. I pushed through it. I kept going. 10 more miles. I can make it. I can do it. I wasn't raised to quit. Then they let all the ABs go. That's you. The able-bodied people, okay? So all the ABs, passed me on the uphill. This runner in a yellow shirt ran by, smacked me on the shoulder. Good job, Mike. Don't quit. You're an inspiration. I kept pushing. I remember thinking, thanks. Shut up. Wait till the downhill. Then there was the downhill. Picture this, 500 runners looking over their shoulders, seeing 8 guys in wheelchairs coming at them at 45 miles an hour. I even passed yellow shirt. What do you think I thought as I sped by? Yeah, good job, don't quit, you're an inspiration. I see you at the finish line. So we get to the finish line, everyone's clapping. That felt good. I had this thought, I thought, wait a minute. Everyone was clapping 3 hours ago when we took off. Now they're clapping at the end. What about the 26 miles in between? Just me, my wheelchair, the hot road, the hot sun. You know what I learned that day? It's when we're alone, we find out about our character. All motivation is self-motivation. Love, money, fear can motivate us, but we have to get our rear ends out of bed in the morning, be thankful to be alive. I never appreciated my legs till I lost their use. I crossed the finish line that day and I had my head up and my shoulders back, and I thought, my dad's right. I can still be a great athlete. I will just have to do it a little differently. My friends here today, I look out at you beautiful people. I'm a pretty smart guy. I don't see lots of wheelchairs, but I know this. There's pain in this room besides just my paralyzed legs, and I salute every one of you for getting up every day and dealing with your stuff that's tough, that nobody else understands. You want to know the secret to getting through pain? In my opinion, attach a purpose. Attach a meaning. If someone said, cut off your hand, you'd say, no, thank you. Oh, it'll save your child. Oh, I'll do it in a heartbeat. I started attaching a purpose and a meaning to my pain. It's made all the difference. I challenge you to do the same. Well, I was just getting used to this new world of mine. I was like a junior in high school. Life was good. I had a new girlfriend. One Friday afternoon, I was arm wrestling my weightlifting coach. He was strong. I was stubborn. We're doing our thing. He busted my right arm. Yeah, I know. Back to the hospital. Broken arm. Legs don't work. 4 limbs. Only this one worked. Yeah, surgery. A big cast from here to here. I went in circles for the next 5 months. But something more important happened in the hospital. They flipped me over. They sliced open my back. They took that .38 caliber piece of lead out of my T10 vertebrae. They handed it to me. I started shaking. This little piece of lead symbolized so much loss and heartache in my young life. But it's about the time in my life I owned it. I let it go. I got rid of the excuses. I became unfrozen. I've been sitting on my butt for 40 years. So you won't sit on yours. I forgave my friend that shot me. It was hard. We hung out. We were neighbors. We were friends. We'd go to the mall. We'd go to movies. People would come up, Mike, what happened to you? Oh, he shot me. I mean, what do you say? Well, he moved away, got involved in drugs and alcohol. He tried to rob a bank with a loaded gun. My friend Tori spent 25 years in federal prison, many of them in Fort Leavenworth. Through it all, I had a prayer in my head, in my heart, someday I'll reconnect with my friend Tori. Well, a few years ago, I was at a restaurant in Salt Lake City. My cell phone rang. I knew that voice. Who do you think it was? It was Tori. He was 5 miles away. He'd been out of prison for 5 years. I talked him into coming to the restaurant. He walked in like 2 cool guys. You know, we went to shake hands. He walked right through my handshake. He knelt down. We embraced. It's like a bridge had been built over those many years. I am proud of my friend Tori. Despite his past, he has his life positioned properly. And that's what winners do. That's what elite people do. You are entitled to have a good day and a bad day, but you get yourself positioned where you want to go, you own it, and you move into a bright future. That's the difference between average and success. Congratulations to you. Good job to you. Well, I got that blue cast off my arm from my arm wrestling, and I found myself on one hot August day By the way, it's going to be 100 degrees out there. I found myself on a hot August day hanging on to this improvised boogie board behind the family boat at a lake up in Utah. Anyway, Dad's driving the boat. He's going about 30 knots. I'm laying on my belly. I'm hanging onto this round, a dog paddle. I'm laying on my belly, and I'm hanging on. My legs are flapping around the breeze. I look like an injured frog, but I'm just hanging on. And water's hitting me in the face and going up my nose, and I remember thinking, this isn't very much fun. Why'd my friend shoot me? I'm having a bad day. Everyone's looking at me, staring at me. I'm used to it. A few people are laughing. Dad's head's over by the shore. More people are staring at me. I'm thinking, something's wrong. So I look over my shoulder. Yeah, legs flapping in the breeze behind me. There was a worse problem. The water that came under that yellow boogie board ripped off my sporty green swimming trunks. Yeah, gone. No swimming suit. Didn't know. Can't feel my legs. And, I quickly fall off. And I'm bobbing up and down in my life jacket. And I knew the boat would circle around to come back and get me. And you want to know my first thoughts? It's not my fault I'm up here in freezing cold water. It's not my fault I lost my swimming trunks. It's not even my fault I got shot. My friends here today, my elite friends, do fault and blame really have much to do with anything? Well, unless you're married, but we don't need to find fault and blame. We need to find solutions, be positive. Maybe I was the world's first nude, disabled water skier. I don't know, but there's good in everything, especially you. As the boat came back, my mind became full circle, and I learned what I believe are the three most important words in life, and here they are. Take personal responsibility. Take personal responsibility. Three most important words in life. Hey, maybe that's 4 words. Take personal responsibility. We cannot always help exactly what happens to us in our lives, but we always have, by far, the most important choice. How are we going to respond? How are we going to react? When we take personal responsibility, it empowers us to succeed or fail on our terms. The boat came back. My sister Julie borrowed me her swimming trunks. I climbed in the boat. Yeah, I had a bad day, but I didn't let it turn into a bad week. I started to take personal responsibility. How do I know the difference? A few months later in my life, I'm ashamed to sit up here and tell you I was not taking personal responsibility. It was a Friday night. I was sitting at home on the couch in the living room. A school dance was going on. I wouldn't go to the school dances. Why? I didn't want you ladies, you girls, to film around me and my disability, so I stayed home. This particular night, I was having very destructive thoughts, like real bad thoughts. But fortunately, I got myself positioned properly. I picked my head up, my shoulder. I thought, I'm going to the dance. If I don't own this and accept myself, the world never will. So I remember I got in my wheelchair, and I bent down that new cement ramp in the front of the house, and I went over to my black car. I climbed in the car. I threw my wheelchair in the back seat. I drove to the high school, going to the dance. I don't care. Got kind of an attitude. I'm driving my hand controls, down his gas and in his brake. Sometimes you get mixed up. Anyway, so I drove to the high school, and I went into the dance. You've been there, the gymnasium, the wooden floor, the baskets, the lights are low. I snuck in a back door. I popped a wheelie. I was kind of like leaning up against the wall. A few of my friends came and said hi. They're back to chasing girls, just me and my thoughts. Wishing things were how they used to be. Then I saw a girl named Wendy start heading my direction. Don't even think about it, Wendy. She kept getting closer and closer. I got out of a wheelie. I turned to the side. I leaned over. I started talking to the top of my shoes. But I could still see like her legs, getting closer and closer, and that wasn't all that bad. But anyway, so she stopped about 10 feet away. I looked up. Our eyes made contact, and she said, Mike, I want to dance. I thought, go dance. I'd be happy to watch you. Go dance. I knew she meant with me. I said, okay, Wendy. Pushing out the dance floor, whole world staring at me. This isn't very much fun. Why did my friend shoot me? I'm having a bad day. Got out there, started dancing with an attitude. Couldn't wait for the song to end so I could go back to my safe corner, back where I felt comfortable. I popped a wheelie. I saw a few smiles. No, this isn't good. I got to get back over there. Please song end, please song end. I popped another wheelie. I turned some more circles, more smiles. Hey, maybe they respect me. Maybe they're not judging me. Maybe they appreciate the fact that I showed up. No, I got to get over there. The song finally ended. I went to shake Wendy's hand and say thank you. Wendy said 6 words I will never forget. Mike, I want one more dance. Not good. What kind of music do you think started coming through the speakers? Slow music. I didn't know what to do. Wendy didn't know what to do. She was nervous. I was sweating bullets. No pun intended. It was awkward. Eventually, Wendy came over and she knelt down on the ground right next to me. We have to make decisions. I started patting her on the head to the beat of the music. Wendy, this isn't working. I'm messing up your hair. But Wendy, I have an idea. Why don't you just sit on my lap? We'll try that. So Wendy stood up. She plopped down sideways on my lap. She wrapped her arms around my shoulders. I quickly became the envy of every one of my friends. Some say I invented lap dancing. So, the song ended and Wendy went to her corner and I went to mine. Now I had a smile on my face, I had a smile on my heart. I was thankful I showed up. Hey, by the way, thanks for showing up here in beautiful Scottsdale. Thanks for earning the right to be here. Hope you own it again next year. Thanks to everybody, Renegade and Larry and everybody else that put on this great event. Wendy could have danced with Roger or Phil or Lance. I'm thankful she took a chance to dance with me. This world is made of givers and takers. The takers eat well. The givers sleep well. I hope every one of you sleep well. You're givers. You matter. You make a difference. I hope you wake up every day with a sparkle in your eye and a bounce in your step, and you know you belong to a wonderful and noble profession. Thank you for making a difference in the lives of thousands and thousands of people that need you, your services, your smile, your voice. Thanks for being the top 5%, the elite, the best. You deserve to be here. I want you to continue on 2016 and make it another great year. Do as Wendy did for me. Get outside of our world and go out into the world and serve others and get into their world and make a difference. All right. I told you about a goal I set when I was just a kid to represent you in the Olympic Games. I got my chance. 1988, I was a student at Arizona State University. Yeah, I was getting a master's degree, and I got a phone call to try out against 100 of the best wheelchair basketball players in the United States of America. Many great athletes like Reggie Colton from Gainesville, Florida. Reggie lost both of his legs on a train track when he was 11 years old. I made the team. I was the youngest on the team. We're flying all over the world, getting ready to fly over the ocean to represent you, to represent our flag, the Olympic Games. We're all excited. We're the first ones on the airplane. They tell us to remain seated. Like, okay. My buddy Reggie with no legs, like a spider monkey, he climbs up in the overhead luggage bin. My coach shuts him in there. We start reading the newspaper. All the ABs, the able-bodied people like you, start coming on the airplane. What's the first thing you're looking to do when you get on the airplane? Put your bag somewhere. Oh, yeah. Somebody opens that up, and Reggie, yeah, you think paraplegics have bladder problems. I mean, we scare people really bad. So we fly over the ocean. We represent you. We represent our flag. We beat Holland by 10 points to win a gold medal. And thank you. They raised the flag, and they played the national anthem, and they put these gold medals around our necks. I had a tear in my eye because I remembered 10 years earlier laying in a hospital bed in Utah wondering if I would ever play basketball again. And now I had this beautiful, shiny gold medal. It's a good feeling to know you're the best in the world at something, even for a small moment. My mom liked it so much, she was going to bronze it. Come with me to 1992. Where were the Summer Olympic Games? In 1992. Barcelona, Spain. Very good. My personal motto as I trained was no pain, no Spain. Again, I made the team. Again, we beat Holland by 3 points. They raised the flag, played the national anthem, put the gold medals around our necks. Where's that gold medal here this morning? I don't have it. I lost it. I did. I lost my gold medal. How? One of my teammates tested positive for drugs. Don't feel bad for me. Just know this. Every single thing you do here on this elite team affects every single other person on the team. Yeah. So, 2 games, 2 gold medals. A little adversity. By the way, we don't find out about ourselves when the sun is always shining on us. We have to persevere through things, push through things, keep going, obstacles, be better, be stronger. 1996. Where were the Summer Olympic Games in 1996? Atlanta. Our country, our families, our food. Best wheelchair basketball team ever put together. We'd never lost. We're playing in the Omni in front of 15,000 people. We're beating everybody by 25, 30 points a game. Life's good, life's easy. We get to the semifinals. We're playing Australia. We got beat. We didn't know how to handle adversity. We didn't know how to handle problems. We'd never been there, didn't know what to do. Coach was mad. Coach was yelling. Everybody's heading to the locker room. Coach was chucking wheelchairs. Yeah? Some of us were still in those wheelchairs. Yeah. So we got knocked down. We begrudgingly got up. We beat Spain by 9 points to win a bronze medal. I didn't like my bronze medal. I went back to Utah. I put it in my sock drawer. I have like white socks and dark socks. Anyway, I put it in the corner of my white socks. It sat there for 4 years as a motivator for me to try to reach that goal I'd set years earlier, to be the first wheelchair basketball player to represent the United States of America in 4 consecutive games. I'm getting a little older. I got kids. I'm working. I didn't lose sight of my goal. The year 2000 rolled around. Where were the Summer Olympic Games? Very good. Sydney, Australia. Beautiful people. Beautiful country. I made the team one last time. Now I'm the oldest on the team. We're down there in the beautiful country of Australia trying to get our gold medal back. We're in the semifinals. We're playing Canada. Looking forward to that gold medal game the next night. We got beat again. Everybody's heading to the locker room. Coach is mad. I'd changed. I'd grown up. I sat in the middle of that basketball arena for 5 minutes. And I looked at the flags and the athletes, some of my family and my friends. I reflected what a privilege it had been to represent you and almost 400 million Americans over the course of almost 20 years in what I believe is the greatest sporting event in the world. Don't get me wrong, we had a bad day, but we got ourselves positioned properly. We beat Great Britain the next night on a 25-footer at the buzzer to win the bronze. We didn't lose the gold, we won the bronze. And I didn't go back to Utah and stick it in my sock drawer. I brought it here with me this morning, and I'll hold it up. I'll share it with you, and I'll tell you, 3rd place in a world. Thank you. There's good in everything, especially you. My mom doesn't have to bronze it. Michael Phelps doesn't even have any of these. So, I've been fortunate to win 2 gold medals and 2 bronze medals. I don't have any silver medals. They lose their last game. But I earned these with great coaches and teammates and family and friends. They mean a lot to me, they really do. But I have one other item I want to put around my neck. I want to let it take an equal place in my life with these Olympic medals. This other little item, I earned in a little bit of a different way. A lot of doubt, a lot of fear, a lot of heartache, a lot of tears. This other little item is about the size of the tip of your little finger. What do you think it is? It's my bullet. I share it with you. I hold it up. I accept it. I put it in my hand. I don't shake. It's part of me. I own it. It spent 2 years in my spine. It closed a lot of doors, opened a few others. Today isn't about me. I have a favor to ask of you, incredible people. You do me a favor? Yeah? Tonight, When you lay your head on your pillow, wherever that may be, I challenge you, each and every one of you, tonight, to find your bullet. What stops you? What paralyzes you? It might not be in your spine like mine. Might be in your head, might be in your heart. By the way, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong. Find your bullet, deal with it, admit it's there. Let it make you a better person. Life is difficult. There's a lot of D words in this difficult world. Help me find some. There's death, divorce, disease, doubt, disabilities, debt, dish, direct. The in-laws. Denver. Oh, sorry. Okay, so find your bullet, put it around your neck, begin the journey. All right, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a visual journey and show you a few photos. Laying in a hospital bed, a lot of time to think and wonder, a lot of bad hair days. Did a little workouts. I love the saying, attitude therapy. Success is overcoming the person inside of you who wants to quit. A different marathon. Now listen, why my mom would let me wear brown corduroys in a 26-mile marathon, I have no idea. I still have my swimming trunks on. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. Yeah, where are my repellers in here? Where are my repellers? All right. Yeah. So they took me up there. They tied a whole bunch of ropes to my wheelchair. This is like many years ago. Anyway, they tied a whole bunch of ropes to my wheelchair, and I said, can we tie some to me too? So they tied some around my waist. Anyway, I remember I'm still 50 feet in the air. I have no stomach muscles. I'm like 2 feet from falling off the side of the board. I remember thinking, what the heck? I'm already in a wheelchair. I'll just keep on going. So I made it to the bottom. Our minds are like parachutes. They only work when they are open. This guy's missing his legs from the knees up, but he still had not the knees up, the knees down. You can't be missing your legs from the knees up or you got problems. But courage. When you walk out these doors, think or act or feel a little differently. Be open-minded to change, to adapt, to grow. The family farm. I love fishing. I love getting out in nature. Life is intense. Live it, love it, go fishing. Face your fears. A grizzly bear in Alaska. I always was scared of grizzlies. This bear walked 5 feet behind me as I was fishing. I took pictures, fell in love with the bear, started reading about grizzlies. When you don't understand something, learn about it, get to know it, attach, understand. It makes all the difference in the world, especially you and your fears. Overcome them. If there's a will, there's a way. Snowmobiling in Utah on this very jump. My left leg went under the snowmobile. Broke my left ankle in 16 places. I couldn't feel it. But anyway, back to the hospital, more surgery, a big blue cast from my ankle to my hip, 5 months. I'm still walking with a little bit of a limp, but I'm doing a little better. I love the saying. I've been told my whole life, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, bumblebees, they just keep flapping. And eventually things work out. Perseverance. Hang in there. Keep going. Keep driving. The family farm. My brother Tyler got the backhoe. He picked me and my friend Brett up, and he dumped us in the pond. It wasn't on my bucket list. San Diego. My same brother dug a hole, buried me up to my neck. A half an hour later, I said, Tyler, get me out of here. I don't like this. He started throwing chips and bread all around my head. And he left me there another hour while the birds realized I couldn't do a thing to him. El Capitan, Yosemite, Northern California. My friend, my teammate, Trooper Johnson. He wanted to climb this when he was just a little boy. When he was 17, he broke his back in a car wreck. Do you think Trooper's dreams were denied? Nope, they were delayed. A few years ago, as a paraplegic, Trooper climbed this mountain, 5,000 pull-ups. And he packed his gear behind him. He slept on that red thing. CNN did a special from a helicopter. And then with the help of a guide, he walked back to the bottom, 2.5 miles on his hands. In our lives, the greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it. My beautiful wife, Tammy, from the great state of Minnesota. Thank you. She's an incredible human being. She accepts me, my wheelchair, and all my other disabilities. So who needs wings when you got wheels, a good wife, and a wedgie? Yeah. Dallas Airport, couldn't find the elevator, so I just decided to take the escalator. I pulled on, I grabbed on, I hung on, up it went. You know what I've noticed? There's nobody ever behind me. They just always like scatter and disappear. Life is all about how we handle plan B. I work once in a while. A couple summers ago, the darn thing ran out of gas. No cell phone, wheelchair's way over there, 100 degrees, didn't know what to do, nobody's home. People would drive by, I'd like wave at them, you know, they'd wave back. Yeah, like, good job, don't quit, you're an inspiration. Thanks, shut up, get over here, I need your help. So I had to crawl 100 yards and get back in my wheelchair. The Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, right after our country was attacked in 2002. A lot of patriotism. It was a cold night, 2 billion people. I'm carrying Monaco's placard into opening ceremonies. I have a little video clip here for us. Back when George was smiling, I was able to meet cool people like Sting, yeah, and Bon Jovi under my left arm, a little bit of rock and roll for you ladies, yeah. Under my right arm, a fellow Utahn, Marie Osmond, a little bit of country. Did you know she lost 50 pounds on Nutrisystem? This is my family. A distorted photo about 8 or 9 or 10 years ago. Matt, Megan, Joseph, Mackenzie, and Anna. You know what? Not a person in that photo knew me when I was on my feet. I don't care in our lives if we've hung out with all the rich and famous. I want to know if we've sat with the broken. My family, my friends have always been there for me. Thank you for being there for people that need you. Trooper has a hat on. He climbed El Capitan. The other guy on my left, that's Reggie from Gainesville, Florida. Remember I told you about Reggie, he lost his legs? Remember I told you about Reggie on the airplane when he climbs up in that thing, yeah? Can you find Reggie? That's my coach getting ready to shut him in there. And then we'll be scaring somebody really bad in about 5 minutes. I was fortunate to carry the Olympic flame in St. George, Utah. You carry it for 2 blocks. You're thinking, don't drop it. They'll cancel the Olympics. The kids are going nuts. You know you got to hand it to somebody else. I wanted to hand it to my mom. My mom nominated me to carry the torch. My mom has a disease called MS. I ended up handing the torch to a different person with a different problem. Everybody here today has a torch. Grab your torch. Hang on tight. Carry it for you, your family, your future. It's worth it. Basketball, the World Championships up in Canada. The wheels slant out. It protects your fingers. It helps you turn quicker. That's my coach above my head yelling, don't shoot. But I shot anyway. What's the name of my book? Shot Happens. My next book, Happy Schlappi or Crappy Schlappi, yeah. Okay, this is after we won the gold medal in Barcelona. We're not very good at climbing up the ladders. They brought the baskets down. We cut the nets off to celebrate. They raised the flag, played the national anthem, put the gold medals around our necks. 15 minutes later was the drug test. Had to give our gold medals back. These are some of my disabled friends at the White House. Trooper and Mark. This is my other disabled friend that used to be at the White House. His name's Bill. He might be the first lady, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. Who do you think this good-looking guy is that I have my left arm around? Tori, my buddy that shot me at a Mimi's restaurant. I'm proud of Tori. Learn from Tori. Fourth and final games, Sydney, Australia. 100,000 people, opening ceremonies. I'm down there in the red with the U.S. team. And then they said, let the games begin. And I watched the amputees run the 100 meters in 11 seconds, or high jump 7 feet, or long jump 25 feet, or shot put. It's not Reggie. It's a different athlete. I love the saying, more attitude therapy. Pain and suffering are inevitable. Misery is optional. This guy has big arms, big shoulders, a big heart, no legs. 15,000 of us cheered for him. He tried to win a gold, silver, or a bronze medal for his country. This is after we hit the 25-footer at the buzzer to win the bronze. Who do you think's upside down on the bottom? Yeah? I have a little video clip here for you. Tie game. 15 seconds to go. Great Britain has the ball. They call a timeout. We played terrible defense. They miss a layup. Here's how we won our bronze medal in Sydney. Thank you. The Canadians went on to win the gold medal. Do I have any Canadian friends in here? We have some Canadians in here? This is the best player in the world. He lives in Edmonton. Pat Anderson. After you beat us Americans, he climbs up on the basket and he held up the Canadian flag. He's giving us Americans a hard time, and he cut the net off and cut his legs off. And anyway, yeah. I had to tell him he couldn't put his shoes on the right way. But yeah, that's Pat Anderson. You have a beautiful country, by the way. By the way, we can flip the lights back on. Let me just say this. Thank you for letting me take you on a little bit of my life journey. When my grandma Schlappi brought me that cherry Schlurpee, she taught me to laugh again. My dad taught me I could still be an elite athlete. Tori taught me we can forgive ourselves, reposition, move forward. Wendy and my wife Tammy taught me it's love, caring and compassion that really matter. But the greatest lesson I learned in life, I learned from my great mom flipping pancakes when she taught me that just because I can't stand up doesn't mean I can't stand out. And my friends here today, I want to finish my remarks. I want to speak to you just very briefly as if I were our flag. I love our flag. It's been all over the world, in places that many of us can only imagine. I've been able to represent it and watch it raise to the rafters. I hope the rest of your lives, when you see a flag, it'll be a reminder, a representation, if you will, in the value that there is in taking a stand for something worthwhile. So what would our flag say if it could speak to us here this morning? Hey, by the way, if you're from Canada, I hope you feel the exact same way about your country and your flag. I am your flag. Maybe we can crank that music up just a little bit. I was born on June 14th, 1777. I am more than just cloth, shaped into a design. I am the refuge of the world's oppressed people. I am the silent sentinel of freedom. I am the emblem of the greatest sovereign nation on earth. And I'm the inspiration for which American patriots give their lives and fortunes. I've led your sons into battle, from Valley Forge to the steaming, treacherous jungles of Vietnam, into Afghanistan and Iraq. I've walked in silence with each of your honored dead to their final resting place beneath silent white crosses, row upon row. I have flown through war and peace, strife and prosperity, and amidst it all, I have been respected. My red stripes symbolize blood spilled in defense of our glorious nation. My white stripes signify burning tears shed by Americans who have lost their sons or daughters in battle. My blue field is indicative of God's heaven under which I fly. And my white stars, clustered together, unify 50 states as one for God and country. Old Glory is my nickname. Proudly, I wave on high. Honor me, respect me, defend me. With your lives and fortunes, never let my enemies tear me down from my lofty position, lest I never return. Keep alight the fires of patriotism. Strive earnestly for the spirit of democracy. Worship the eternal God and keep his commandments. And I shall always remain a bulwark of peace and freedom for all mankind. My friends here today, I lost the freedom to walk, actually on Veterans Day. But because of incredible people like you, my family and friends, and my willingness to persevere, I've never lost the freedom to dream. I never will. I've had people say, Mike, if you could go back to that day and change that day, would you? What do you think my first thought is? Of course. But if you'd seen what I'd seen, if you'd been where I'd been, if you knew what I knew, most importantly, if you'd felt what I felt, I thank God for pain. Because only when we feel pain do we change. Only when we change do we grow. And only when we grow do we all begin to discover the beauty that lies within each and every one of us. I promised, laying on that white bedspread with a hole in my chest, if I could live, I would help people. So, when your great leaders asked me to be here today, I said I'd be honored. I'd be happy to share my story with your elite people. Just a little simple reminder today, in life, whether or not you can or you can't stand up, we all matter. We all make a difference, and we all have the ability in our lives to stand out. Thank you very much for letting me share a little bit of my story with you.